Hello, my name is Whitney. Today we're going to be going over the cognitive learning or motivation presentation. So what I chose for mine is learning. So basically we're going to go through what is learning first. So what is it? Learning is obtaining knowledge or skills through an experience or being taught by one another or also studying as well. So those are the different ways of learning, which it also is coming down still. Why is it important? It's important for us, one, because it aids us and helps us get this knowledge. We also need knowledge for everyday things in life, as well as it helps us achieve our personal goals. So my personal learning style and preferences is auditory, as well as it is also hands-on. So I'm a very hands-on person, meaning I like to be able to learn these skills from using my hands or being able to do it myself. I just find that the easiest way. So the Cognitive School of Psychology is the school of psychology for learning. So basically they mentally process here at this school, and how people think, perceive, act, and learn is basically how this school runs. And so I do have a picture image here where it shows the left and right side of the brain. The next part is our history of learning. So it did say modern history in here, so I wanted to kind of put some also older history in here just so we can take a look at it and see the contributors, which I did find a little bit interesting. So our first one is Wilhelm Wundt, a German psychologist, which founded the Gestalt psychology in 1875. So the Gestalt psychology was where they tried to separate learning from meaning, which I think is very interesting because meaning is something that is so important to our learning cycle nowadays. So I found it very interesting that they kind of tried to separate that. The second being American Behaviorism, 1913, founded by John B. Watson. So this was a man that was brilliant. For 60 years, he dominated the academic learning field, and he did this in Anglophone countries where he specialized, which you could see from his theory when you read it is what you could see and measure is what was accepted in these theories. Otherwise, it wasn't accepted, which I find that very interesting as well, because a lot of learning skills nowadays, it's not just from what is seen as measured, it's also from how you feel as well in that meaning. The next one being Malcolm Knowles, 1970. He kind of went into the difference between adult and children's learning, which was very interesting to see where he went with that and the cognitive learning theory wound in that. And then the next one, David Kolb. He's one of the last ones that you kind of read about in these articles. In 1984, he proposes an experimental learning, and he also shows his cognitive learning chart, which is a circle of life that I think of it as, which he talks about concrete, which are experiences, reflectives, observations, abstract conceptualism, and active experimentation that just goes on in this circle. So the next part is the biology and learning, so the actual science behind it. So the brain is a dynamic organ for our learning. So our pathways to communicate for our information in our brain are neurons. So that's the GIF that I put below. So basically these neuron transmitters process our information, and that's what these light up pieces are. So they take care of our brain. We're able to process information a lot better, obviously. So rest, eat healthy, and study in chunks, not to do it all in one night. So this will help our neurotransmitters. We also talk about learning disorders, how they can affect our neurotransmitters. So with the learning disorders, say autism for one, your neurotransmitters get overridden. So you think of autism as a powerhouse that has all this information, all of this going on, and is building up all this information that our neurotransmitters cannot hold through there. So the last slide is our psychological and sociocultural factors in learning. So mainly we talk about behaviorism in this, and I thought this was very interesting because this is the best way for college students to obviously obtain information in our classroom, and it is very interesting to see. This third bullet point that I put in here is how they are seen for drills, question and answers, guided practice, review, and encouragement is the best thing that has been seen for psychological events in your brain for effective of learning. And then the last one is the cultural considerations that are for our sociocultural factors that we see in learning. So language barriers, learning disabilities, race, and etc. Those really do play factors in our learning. So more about the behaviorism. You go into the psychological and sociocultural factors and you kind of see a tie between these in knowing. And so the behaviorism just goes into a deeper structure of how to process that psychological factor right there. And then this last page here is my references. And so I was able to find a lot of good articles on them, which was a really good read, and I would probably go back and read them again, as well as I was able to use the textbook for some of it, which was really exciting as well. So that is my slideshow. Thank you so much, and I hope that you liked my PowerPoint.